So, favorite part of this work? What do you love about the nonprofit sector, your work as a marketer, organizations that you've worked with to date?
Yeah, I think the thing is that my values are based in justice and equity. I mean, I didn't realize it till much later in my life. I have two daughters with autism. They're 18 years old now, but almost 19. And they often are some of the reasons I do this because I see the injustices in the world. And I had that back when I was a reporter, but now it's hit home a lot farther. So what I like doing is seeing that passion that a nonprofit has, the idea of making the world a better place for everyone, not just it might be one target market or one specific group, but really it's about that. And I do that in a variety of ways, but I always have that lens on of how we can make things better for everyone because it's the curb cut effect. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but if you know that you've built something for people with disabilities, like the curb cuts for wheelchairs that you see at the end of curbs, it also helps everybody else because it helps people with a lot of packages. It helps moms with strollers. It helps senior citizens who may need help walking across the street and taking that dip could be difficult. So I look for those things. And it's always fun to see those in those nonprofits because most of them have it.
I love that. And, for me, some of what I think nonprofit doesn't do all that well is educating about what nonprofit is out in the world and what it does. But, when all of a sudden we need the services, because I think the average person who maybe doesn't work in nonprofit or has very little exposure, maybe doesn't have a kid who needs supports. You and I have connected on this before. I have one kiddo with, a variety of ADHD, motor sensory, things like that. When you need the curb, like you were talking about, do you ever need it right then, right? It's not until you notice that you need it that sometimes we become aware of some of these inequities that you're talking about. But nonprofits are making it possible for everyone that when it's your turn that you needed that potential curb, whether it's, when you're in your 20s that you maybe need supports with a wheelchair ramp, or what if it's not until your 80s? It shouldn't matter. It's there for you to use, and it's there for anyone who needs it. And I think that's a really powerful example that you're sharing.
I mean, there's a lot of examples of this in real world that we use just as neurotypical people or Siri, for one, if you have an iPhone. Siri was actually invented by someone who wanted to help people with disabilities and wanted them to be able to have something that they could communicate with in case they, especially communication disabilities, so they could
Yeah.
talk if they were blind. They didn't have to do that. But so many of us now use Siri or something like Siri to get stuff done. So it's amazing how things always end up, if they're built for somebody, even in the nonprofit world, they're built to help somebody no matter what. It ends up helping all of us.